You would have to be living under a rock to not know who Nicki Minaj is. She's made headlines for her music, her lyrics, her twerking, and her celebrity feuds. But if you do live under a rock, it's all good. I don't judge. I will help you out with today's list because I am dishing out some facts that you did not know about her. I'm your host Joss. Welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. You can follow the BTS team on social media. Our links are down below. And also hang out with me until the end so you do not miss out on the comment shoutouts and bloopers. Starting off with list number 10 is her real name, the reason she changed it, and why she hates it. It's common for artists to change the real name to something that works better as a stage name, but normally it's by choice and they pick one that they really like. Nicki's real name is Onika Tanya Mirage. Not exactly a boring name. I actually really like it. She claims that she didn't want to change her name, but said that her record label forced her to. They chose Minaj because it was close to Mirage and it would feel like she's keeping part of her surname. But she doesn't feel that way at all. She actually hates the name change. During an interview with Vogue, she said, "Somebody changed my name. One of the first production deals I signed, the guy wanted my name to be Minaj and I fought him tooth and nail, but he convinced me. I've always hated it." Well, I guess it is too late to go back on that now. Although I feel like she could change her name and people would still go with it. I'd call her by another name. Next up at number 9 is Nicki used to have multiple personalities. We all know her as one character she's played up with her rap artist stage name. The nails, the wigs, the outfits, the twerking. But back when she was a kid, she took on different personas. Now I know what you're thinking. We all probably used our imagination like that as a kid. I mean, I still pretend I'm Miley Cyrus sometimes, but she didn't take on personas as some kind of game. She actually did it to escape from her rough home environment. She would turn herself into a character and be somebody completely different as a form of release and escape. During an interview with New York Magazine in 2010, she revealed that she would act out 15 different characters. She said, "To get away from all my parents fighting, I would imagine being a new person. Cookie was my first identity and stayed with me for a while. Then I went on to Harajuku Barbie, then Nicki Minaj. Fantasy was my reality." Honestly, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to get through something. So whatever, I'm cool with it. Sliding to the number 8 spot is she was fired from her first job. Something that seems so simple, yet we always forget that celebrities all started as regular people at one point in her life. We all have to start somewhere. I mean, my first job was at Tim Hortons when I was 15 years old. Tell me in the comments what your first job was. I actually really want to know. Nicki's first job was working as a waitress at the Red Lobster in the Bronx, New York. She said she applied there as a teenager so she could earn some extra cash on the weekends. As teenagers, we all wanted that extra spending money, but the restaurant ended up giving her the boot because she didn't have a good reputation with the customers. Apparently her customer service was often poor and her attitude got her in trouble. I bet they didn't realize who that teenager was gonna be one day. I wonder if she went back if they would give her free food and stuff now that she's like a big shot, although she was fired. So I'm not really sure. Cruising into the number 7 spot is she was discovered through MySpace. Everyone has a success story and I personally had no idea how Nicki ever got noticed. She just kind of showed up. She was once an artist who was determined to make it, so she started by doing backup singing roles for local New York City rappers. From her experience doing that, she started to write her own material, and like most of us during that time, she was sharing her life and her music on her MySpace page, which was eventually discovered by Dirty Money CEO Fendi. He loved what he heard and signed her to his label. That connection led Nicki to Lil Wayne, who collaborated with her on a series of mixtapes. First one was Playtime Is Over, which came out in April 2007. They released a few mixtapes over the next couple of years before she signed to Lil Wayne's Young Money label in August 2009. She was actually the first ever female artist on his label, and basically the rest is history. Long story short, she became a big star after that. So never underestimate the power of sharing your talents on social media. You never know who's watching. I'm gonna start putting my bird calls on there. And at number 6 is she wanted to be an actress. This probably stems from all the personalities that she was once impersonating in her personal life to escape from her family issues. But she actually took her passion quite seriously at the time. She went to LaGuardia High School in Queens, New York and studied acting. Apparently, she was turned down when she submitted for their singing program. Joke is on them. Nicki admits that Meryl Streep has always been one of her biggest idols and is the one person that would leave her speechless. In 2001, she was cast in her first off-Broadway show called In Case You Forget. At the time, she thought it was going to be the start of her career, but it never really took off after that. It was actually after that she turned to working other jobs and shared her music online. Halfway through the list, number 5 is she is obsessed with stuffed animals. Now, you might think you just figured she likes stuffed animals based on some of her crazy set pieces, props, and costumes, but turns out it's much more than that. She's actually actually obsessed with them. And for those who don't know me well yet, so am I. I have a collection of stuffed animals and I literally treat them like my own children. So basically, all I'm saying is, Nicki, I can relate. The 36-year-old has a few monkey stuffed animals that she carries around and also treats them like her kids. During an interview, she confessed that she carries 7 stuffed animals around with her whenever she travels long distances. She openly admitted that she will even have a conversation with them when she's alone. I do that too. I sound like a psychopath right now. One time, she lost her favorite pink stuffed monkey named Oscar at the airport, and she offered a $50,000 reward if anyone found him. Tell me she's not obsessed. This is a real sickness, y'all, and I have it. I would literally cry physical tears if anything happened to my stuffed animals. I would probably cry over my stuffed animals more than my actual dog. And like, I'm not even kidding. That's so messed up. Here we are, number 4, with where she was born. Most people think she was born in New York because that is where she spent most of her life growing up. But turns out she was actually born on December 8th, 1982 in St. James, Trinidad and Tobago, and moved to New York with her family when she was just 5 years old. People are also surprised when they hear that the artist has an Indian connection. Both of her parents come from mixed origins. Her dad, Robert Mirage, is from Indo-Trinidadian origins, and her mother, Carol Mirage, is from Afro-Trinidadian descent, which makes Minaj a 1/4 Indian, which is actually pretty cool. In the 3rd spot is the fact that she used to be managed by Waka Flocka's mom. True story. Waka Flocka's mom, Deborah Antony, was Nicki's manager at one point in time before she got fired in 2010. Not gonna lie, I didn't even know that this was her profession, never really heard of her, but apparently she's also managed people like Gucci Mane. It made headlines back in 2010 that Nicki fired her without any explanation. Deborah spoke on it and said she received a letter that was a suspension at first, but then another letter followed that one, and it was a cease and desist from Nicki's attorney stating that she can no longer do business with Nicki Minaj. Is that even legal? I feel like you can't just drop someone like that. But Deborah didn't hold any grudges on the situation and also said, "I love Nicki. I wish her the most success. It's not about the music. She is like one of my children. I wish her no harm, only much success." Well, damn. She handled that a lot better than I would have probably. In spot number 2 is her cousin was shot and killed. Like everyone else, Nicki has faced loss in her own personal life, and although the story made headlines, most people never knew it happened or they've completely forgotten about it. It was in July 2011 when Nicki took it to Twitter to tell her fans that her cousin Nicholas was murdered near his home in Brooklyn, New York. Police had found the 27-year-old with multiple gunshot wounds to his upper torso. It was later revealed that they believed he was murdered because of a case of mistaken identity. They didn't think he was the intended victim of the shooting, as he was not known to mix with gang members. This loss has made Nicki passionate about fighting for gun laws and people's rights, and since the incident she has gone on to use it as a very positive thing. Gotta give her credit where credit is due. That would be really tough to overcome. In the number 1 spot is the story behind The Boy. Taylor Swift has shown us that all artists will sometimes use their own personal experience to come up with lyrics to their songs, and Nicki's song The Boy does just that. But it is not about some ex-boyfriend of hers. It was actually inspired by the domestic violence she witnessed in her home as a kid. Her dad would physically abuse her mother, and at one point he actually tried to burn down their house. Like, legit. After the incident, Nicki went to live with her grandmother as a way to protect her. Nicki openly talks about her past and says it is the reason why she wants women to feel empowered. She is a huge advocate for women's rights, and although her grandmother was the one who brought her up, she does remain very close with her mom still. You can actually watch her documentary called Queen to see her open up about the abusive home she grew up in. I've actually watched some parts of it, and it's honestly crazy to see her in such a different light than what we see her in the media. Alright guys, that is our list for today. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and let me know if you knew these facts or not. While you do that, let's check out some comments from some of my other videos. Kelly Savage says, "Jocelyn, you are the best. I love your upbeat, cheery personality. Keep up the great work." Thanks! I'm honestly not always this cheery though. You can just ask Chris. I have an attitude problem. Kelly Gray says, "Jason Earls was hilarious." Yep, he was one of my faves for sure. Honestly, he played that role perfectly. Del Marie Walker says, "I love the movie Jaws. Jaws, you keep it alive, girl. Keep going, bless up." I love the movie Jaws too, and this is the type of hype squad I need in my life. G-Eazy says, "I would love to hate you. Honestly, I would tell you to join the club, but there is a really long wait list to even get in. It's packed with haters." Alright guys, that is our list for today. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all of the things. You can also stay on the screen if you want to keep watching more videos, but first, enjoy the bonus content. From like the section. I like it. Oh, it sounds like a trumpet. I can make bird calls, I have a new talent. God, someone hire me. Starting off but then another letter. Why can't I I say? Another letter. What the